Alexa, that's enough. Alexa, that's enough. Thank you. Professional wrestling is one of the most biggest and known world sports in the entire world. With WWE reaching all types of the marks, it has been known to reach the United States, Egypt, UK, and Australia. But with the boom of professional sport wrestling, it has also increased its competition, such as NJPW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Pro Wrestling Australia. But first, before we're going to talk about that, I'm going to teach you what pro wrestling is and what it's about. Pro wrestling started in the late 19th century from the circus acts, as its main intended thing to do was to separate marks, the audience, from its money with a pure spectacle. This was done in between music halls and saloons, also balanced in between singers, juggles acts, and dance routines. As you can tell by what being in the circus act, it also had its own type of characters. You could watch this now on Netflix, YouTube, on TV, broadcasted on pay-per-view, or wherever you feel like on a PlayStation or an Xbox. Big publicized matches made it sure that ethnicity and your race mattered back then. For example, in 1869, when Dane Frederick Saft beat German Wilhelm Hegster, this was made very important because the Prussians defeated Denmark 5 years earlier. Dane was made a national hero. Also, with the Russia-Japan War of 1904 to 1905, the Japanese were seen as villains, unstoppable monsters. The term for this was called heels, and the term for the good guys was called faces. But good guys who also do bad things are known as anti-heroes, baby faces. And now that I told you what it's about, it's time for you to watch the show, you damn jabroni. You can flip to the USA Network or wherever it is to make sure that you watch it. But as you watch the show, make sure you grab a snack, because these shows can tend to last 2 hours or up to 3 hours, depending on how long it takes, give or take commercial breaks. As the show goes on, you're going to see a lot of backstage interviews, funny segments, comedy segments, serious segments, and also wrestling. But since this is pro wrestling, a lot of people have to talk. And if there wasn't no talking, it would pretty much just become amateur wrestling. And with the talking, that's how the drama begins. As I said, this is live musical theater. As the match starts, it's pretty simple. Victory is claimed by the pinfall submission, no dirty tricks, no legal weapons, and to the victor goes the spoils. But as the match begins and as you see people, they're going to be called by their wrestling name. The wrestling name is also an identity, and with that identity becomes their alter ego. Like with Hulk Hogan, the real American hero. Eat your vitamins, say your prayers, 10-inch biceps. Yokozuna, the indestructible Japanese man. Or the Undertaker, the dead man. The one who can always say rest in peace. Well, after that, I want to know, after you have seen a good portion of the show, and you got into your commercial break, I want to know what you think. What? Oh, it doesn't matter! Anyway, since this is done in many different ways, they also have different styles. In America, we use as catch as you can. We want to make sure that these wrestlers don't actually hurt each other too bad, thus the term selling. You get hit, but not too hurt so bad. As the events go on, you're going to see the wrestlers wear t-shirts, cons, all this other stuff, making sure that they support the show and or your hero or villain as the show goes on. As these things also go on, there's going to be a lot of meet and greets. They go to conventions, places within your town, and they make sure to publicize it in order to get more fans and more people interested in the product. But as this is actual live theater, you should know that injuries happen. This is a full contact sport. You're pulling punches, but you're still punching somebody. A lot of injuries can happen, like a broken nose, broken ankle, or even death. In which case, it is a very sad thing to say, but this is a very full contact sport. But since there's a lot that can happen, there's also a lot of funny segments that can happen. Like with Stone Cold beating Booker T in the shopping market. Or someone dressed up as the gobbledygook for Thanksgiving to win the Royal Rumble. Or even a pie throwing contest in the backstage and someone getting put through a table. You have a boss that you don't like, you settle it in the ring. You have someone who ate your cookies, you settle it in the ring. You got someone that gave you a birthday present that you also don't like. Guess what? You settle it in the ring. Everything is settled in the ring, the dramatics are there, and the characters are there, because that is what makes the product work. You also have to have a suspension of disbelief. As you can see, this is very scripted, in which that means that outcomes are predicted. But even if that's predicted, it doesn't still aid to the fact that you need to know that these characters have fakeness. Just like with The Walking Dead, you know that Rick Grimes is going to be in trouble, but yet you still believe the show. You know that same thing with movies and other television shows. It's fake, it's not real, but you still enjoy it. As with being scripted, a lot of talking, and everything else that makes this not a sport, you should know that it's still a sport. The competition makes it sure that whoever is viewed as the best wrestler in the eyes of the people who watch it, the company makes sure that they get more focal time. Be on the cover of games, TVs, t-shirts, commercials, and even to become a grand champion of their headline pay-per-view. But as you should know, this is still a sport, and in the eyes of some, the best sport. Alexa, play Stone Cold's theme.
Stone Cold Steve Austin by WWE, starting now on Amazon Music.
Hand me that water! Alright, hand me the other water! And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.